Edition of Arirang News. I'm Mark Broom. We are going to continue on with our live coverage of the ASEAN-KOREA Commemorative Summit taking place in Busan. Now, with the ASEAN-KOREA Commemorative Summit kicking off today in Busan, President Moon Jae-in, as well as leaders of ASEAN member states, are now in the city. Let's connect to our Ji-yoon, who is at the summit venue. Bexco for us. Ji-yoon, I'll leave the ASEAN-related news in your hands, and I'll see you later in the newscast.
Thanks, Mark. President Moon Jae-in says that Thailand is South Korea's most important partner in his new southern policy, and he looks forward to expanding their bilateral partnership in a wide range of areas regarding technology. During his bilateral talks with Thailand's Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha this morning, he thanked Thailand for its support in helping South Korea successfully host the ASEAN-KOREA Commemorative Summit and the first Mekong-Korea Summit. President Moon said he looks forward to expanding their partnership in areas including national defense, water management, science, technology, and infrastructure. Prime Minister also said he anticipates more cooperation in areas such as future generation cars, smart batteries, and other fourth industrial revolution technologies. And the ASEAN-ROK CEO Summit kicked off this morning with participants discussing ways to boost cooperation and foster co-prosperity. Over 500 government officials and business leaders, including Thailand Prime Minister and the heads of Samsung Electronics and SK Group, are expected to exchange their insight on the past 30 years of cooperation and the next 30 years. Bilateral trade between Korea and ASEAN has grown 20-fold in that time, from $8 billion in 1989 to $160 billion in 2018. A combination of Korea's advanced technology and manufacturing prowess and ASEAN's human capital and resources is expected to create synergy between Korea and ASEAN and boost growth in the region. World-renowned content producers gathered at the 2019 ASEAN-ROK Culture Innovation Summit on Monday on the sidelines of the ongoing ASEAN-ROK Commemorative Summit. During his welcoming remarks, President Moon Jae-in stressed the need to work with Southeast Asia to foster cooperation in the cultural sector. He stressed that if the countries work together, they will be able to bring the ASEAN culture sector to another level on the path toward creating a new global culture. During the event, which began about an hour ago, participants including Big Hit Entertainment CEO Bang Si-hyuk, the producer of the leading K-pop star BTS, and Netflix CEO Reed Hastings have delivered their speeches on their experiences and ideas on how to develop the culture content industry. And following those summits that you just heard about, President Moon Jae-in is to meet with Indonesian President Joko Widodo at around 2:30 p.m. and then sit down with Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. After these meetings, President Moon will be hosting a welcoming dinner that's scheduled to start at 6 p.m. Korea time. Some 300 people are expected to attend the welcoming dinner tonight, including ASEAN leaders as well as heads and senior officials of Korea's leading conglomerates. Busan, the host city for the ASEAN Special Summit, is the first smart city in the world to apply innovative technology in its initial phase of development. President Moon Jae-in, attending its groundbreaking ceremony on Sunday, says South Korea will expand cooperation with ASEAN in the field. Our Park Jung has more.
President Moon Jae-in says South Korea and Southeast Asia have the potential to jointly lead the global smart city industry. He made the remarks at a groundbreaking ceremony on Sunday for Busan 에코델타 Smart City.
스마트 시티는 혁신적인 미래 기술과 신산업을 담아내는 새로운 플랫폼입니다. 여기에 아세안과 한국이 아시아 정신을 담아낸다면 세계 스마트 시티를 선도하게 될 것입니다. 그 첫 번째 성공 모델을 부산 에코델타 스마트 시티에서 시작할 수 있도록 관심과 협력을 당부드립니다.
Busan is a government-designated pilot smart city that's applying innovative technologies across the entire city. Through a smart water management system, the city will minimize water pollution while rainwater will be purified into clean drinking water. Robotics will be integrated to various areas, including delivery, parking, facility inspections, and patrols, making Busan the first city to apply robot services to the entire city. The city plans to receive residents at the end of 2021. This is the end product of South Korea's efforts to establish a sustainable city after experiencing how rapid urban development leads to issues like traffic congestion, security issues, and pollution. ASEAN cities are experiencing similar issues, and President Moon says the Busan model can be the answer to their problems. South Korea is already working on at least 20 smart city projects with Malaysia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, and other Southeast Asian nations.
한국은 아세안의 도시들과 함께 하겠습니다. 부산 에코델타 스마트 시티의 건설과 운영 경험을 공유하며 아세안 도시들과 협업 체제를 구축하겠습니다.
And the president says the accumulated technology and experience will not stop at smart cities. Rather, the South Korean government will solve problems that pre-existing cities are facing, working to create a synergy effect where both can prosper altogether. Park Jang-sik, Arirang News, Busan.
South Korea says the ASEAN-KOREA Commemorative Summit will be an opportunity for Seoul to further elevate its ties with Southeast Asia. Speaking on Sunday ahead of the official opening today, Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa noted that during the 30-year partnership between Seoul and ASEAN, trade volume has jumped 20-fold, while personal exchanges have grown 40 times. She said the summit will provide the chance for in-depth discussions to further promote cooperation on various fronts like infrastructure and smart cities. Kang also said it's an opportunity to further gain support from ASEAN for the peace drive on the Korean Peninsula, adding that a separate session on the matter has been arranged for the first time. Separately, in a meeting with the Secretary General of ASEAN, Kang called for continued cooperation for Seoul's signature New Southern Policy. With abundant natural resources and a young labor force, Southeast Asian countries are emerging as major players in the global economy. And we have special report on the upcoming ASEAN-KOREA and Mekong-Korea Summit in Busan. Our Yoon Jung-min has more.
Southeast Asia is rising as a global leader with a fast-growing economy and enormous potential. First established in 1967 with 5 countries, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is currently made up of 10 Southeast Asian countries, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. It represents one of the world's largest economic blocs with a total population of over 652 million as of 2018. The total trade volume reached over $2.8 trillion in 2018, while the combined GDP amounted to more than $2.9 trillion, which is around 3% of total global GDP.
ASEAN is the third largest single economic bloc in Asia, following China and India. We call it a single bloc because the 10 countries have been integrating their economies. In fact, the 10 ASEAN countries share a free trade zone.
ASEAN possesses rich natural resources, including oil and natural gas, and young labor markets with about 60% of the population aged below 35. With its annual economic growth expected to reach 5% on average, experts say the region has a diverse economy based on the economic conditions of each country.
Based on the economic capacity of each country in the bloc, their key industries differ, from fourth industrial revolution technologies to labour-intensive industries. For example, Singapore and Malaysia have strong 5G, IT infrastructure and cutting-edge finance technology, while Vietnam has a competitive labour market.
Based on its vibrant economy and large consumer markets, ASEAN is expecting more cooperation within and outside the bloc for economic prosperity. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
On the eve of the Korea-ASEAN Commemorative Summit, a special concert took place in the southern city of Changwon on Sunday to celebrate the opening of the 3-day event. Our Kim Da-mi has the highlights from the ASEAN Fantasia.
Around 150 drones lit up the sky of Changwon City, showing a message of harmony between Korea and Southeast Asia. The 6,000-seat Changwon Velodrome had sold out in just 1 minute and was packed with the first ladies of ASEAN countries and 3,000 multicultural families and migrant workers. From before it, a Thai singer-songwriter mesmerized the audience with his sweet voice. All of his 3 concerts in Korea have sold out in the past. South Korea's Seso년 also showed off her friendship with film through a beautiful duet. Myanmar's Miss World contestant Warlin welcomed the audience in Korean, and Cambodia's best loved singer Miss Sophia and Indonesia's Hollywood star Cinta Laura performed in their national languages. The artists and Modu Choir, composed of multicultural kids in Korea, performed the ASEAN campaign song Side by Side, representing unity between the Southeast Asian nations. K-pop stars like boy group NCT 127 also performed at the concert, as did K-pop legend BoA, who paved the way for the Korean wave better known as Hallyu. BoA sang her hit song Number One, hoping that all 10 ASEAN countries become number one friends. Psy also got the crowd dancing, performing his catchy global hit Gangnam Style. 김다미, Arirang News.
Now, to tell us more about what we can expect from the 3-day event and how it will help to promote President Moon Jae-in's new Southern policy, Professor Park Jang-sik, Director of Donghwa Institute of ASEAN Studies, joins me in the studio today. Hello?
Hi.
All right. Well, considering that this is the biggest international event that President Moon Jae-in is hosting during his term, what kind of expectations are there in ways that we can boost relations with the ASEAN nations?
I think this conference is the 3rd time since, I guess, 2011 from Jeju. So we are holding this conference, this summit every 5 years. So as you may see in Busan, we had twice here in consecutively. So I think this is called the ASEAN Plus One. So we are negotiating everything about the relation between ASEAN and Korea. So and then for this conference, for this summit, so we can dealing with very close and intimate negotiations between ASEAN plus and Korea. So this is the first merit to have this kind of summit here.
Definitely the epitome of President Moon Jae-in's
so like
Southern policy. Yes.
Yeah, friendly. Yeah.
All right, right now, the ASEAN-KOREA Culture Innovation Summit is ongoing. So how do we expect the cultural exchanges and cultural contents between ASEAN nations and Korea to become the driving force of future growth for both, for South Korea and ASEAN nations?
So the current government has announced that the new Southern policy in 2017 in Indonesia for the first time. So at that time, the President Moon Jae-in talked about the people, the peace, and prosperity.
Right, the 3 Ps.
Yeah. So, but they are calling the people in the first place.
Okay.
Above all. So this is coincide with the 3 pillars in ASEAN community. So they have another socio-cultural community. So and then above all, I think. So we Koreans have populated throughout the world in terms of Hallyu, Korean wave. So and then we Koreans have a special talent in showing culture and artist areas.
Yeah.
So considering about this kind of a cultural aspect, we can emphasize on the culture. Performance, artistic areas. We have a special talent about this. So above all kind of nations. So in comparison with China and Japan especially, so we can concentrate on the cultural areas. So from the political or the economical sectors. So and then this is we are at most about other nations, so we can lead the cultural areas.
Definitely a future growth engine for us.
So this is a very important thing.
Okay. Now, considering that all 10 ASEAN nations have diplomatic relations with North Korea, what can we expect from this summit in regards to the ongoing peace process on the Korean Peninsula?
Yes, that's a very difficult and important question. But in ASEAN, so they have a special meeting for called and ARF, ASEAN Regional Forum. This is this organization will be discussed about the security problem throughout Asia. So, and North Korea is one of members, so participating the ARF. So throughout such kind of official meeting, so North Korean leader can participate in the talks about the security problem. So, and then, you know, the North Koreans also do not want to be separated from other Asian countries. And also, you know, so as you may see, the U.S. and North Korean summit will be held in ASEAN nations twice, you know, once in Singapore and Vietnam. So ASEAN can provide the suitable and proper venue to keep the Asia. Sure. So that is very, in that sense. So no other area or, you know, like China, Japan, and India cannot provide sort of very proper venue to protect the security problem.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now on Wednesday, the first Mekong Korea Summit is to take place, obviously. So what's the significance of this summit?
So actually, Mekong Summit means that the 5 nations among ASEAN countries, you know, mainland Southeast Asia we called. So from west side, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. So they are anticipating the regional development inside. So in comparison with other ASEAN countries like Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, so a little bit you know, underdeveloped countries. So, but they have to get together and to develop their own regions. So now the Japanese are now trying to, you know,
boost its relations
boost
with
such
the
a development
region.
of the Mekong regions. So, but now Korean government is trying to enter into that stage to cooperate with each other, with the other 5 countries. This is a very special moment, I guess. This is first the
first summit.
Mekong and Korean summit, but and so we can enthusiasm will be you know, the Mekong area regions for with the underdeveloped countries in the future. So we had already Hangang miracle. So like that, like that same terminology, we can make it so Mekong miracle there. So they 5 other countries are anticipating such kind of Han River with the participation of a Korean government.
All right, so definitely Wednesday's summit will help to elevate our relations to the next level.
Maybe they will discuss more detailed things, cooperation, getting together.
Thank you so much for your insight today.
Thank you.
Now, with that, we go back to the Arirang News Center, where Mark is standing by with more of the day's top stories. Mark?
Well, thank you very much, Ji-yoon. Go and get a nice lunch. I'm sure you will there at Bexco. Now, in the rest of the day's news, all high-speed KTX and commuter trains have been operating normally as of 9 a.m. on Monday, a few hours ago, as the Korean Railway Workers Union and management reached a deal on a pay raise and increased recruitment, which is what the workers were pushing for. The agreement comes after 2 days of marathon negotiations that stretched over the weekend, officially ending the strike that began last Wednesday. However, it's expected to take 1 or 2 days to get all the nationwide services back to normal. Disruption to commuter services caused a lot of inconvenience during the strike, where KTX bullet trains ran below 70% of usual levels. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is making a string of visits to the regime's military units this month. According to Pyongyang's state-run media, the Korean Central News Agency, Kim recently inspected the Changrin islet defense detachment. The islet is located at the very southwestern point of North Korean territory, just north of the inter-Korean maritime border. He told the soldiers there to increase combat efficiency and oversaw their gun firing. This is Kim's third military visit this month. Last week, Kim observed the regime's Air Force landing training, and he watched its combat flight contest a few days before that. The South Korean government is warning Japan against any attempt to spread wrong information on Seoul's decision to conditionally rethink the determination of their military info sharing pact. Such remarks coming just a matter of days after the South Korean government announced its U-turn on the matter. Shin Se-min reports.
South Korea is warning Japan to fairly report on a recent deal to temporarily extend the deadline of the military info-sharing pact known as GSOMIA. Baffled by a string of announcements and reports out of the Japanese government and media that run totally counter to the South Korean government's own words, South Korea's National Security Director Chung Eui-yong fought back hard on Sunday. He rejected the Japanese government's claim that South Korea admitted to faults in its exports monitoring controls and suggested putting its WTO complaint over Tokyo's trade curbs on hold to bring Japan back to dialogue. Countering Japanese media reports that said it was a perfectly winning game for Japan, Seoul's top security chief said it was actually a success for South Korean diplomacy, which was based on principles and tolerance. Chung added there would not have been any deal under the terms laid out by Japan and warned he would like to tell Japan to quote-unquote try me. He also accused Tokyo of making groundless claims and trying to provoke Seoul. He noted that during a meeting Saturday between their foreign ministers Kang Kyung-hwa and Toshimitsu Motegi, Japan's foreign ministry apologized for incorrect information issued by its finance ministry. As for remarks by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe reportedly saying that Japan made no concessions regarding the deal, Chung said he seriously questions the conscience of such comments being uttered by a national leader. The top national security advisor added that should Tokyo's actions continue, their negotiations will quickly reach a critical point, hinting at the termination of the deal at any time. Shin Se-min, Arirang News, Busan.
Now, as a follow-up to that report, South Korea's top office has refuted another report coming out of Japanese media on Monday morning and said Japan is behind in what it described as the truth game. In a readout to reporters, the senior presidential secretary for public communication reaffirmed that Tokyo did apologize to Seoul over the complaint that Tokyo had announced distorted facts about the deal made between the two countries. This, as the Japanese daily Yomiuri Shimbun quoted a Japanese foreign ministry official as saying that the South Korean top security chief's remarks that Japan apologized to Korea are untrue. Despite months of export curbs by Japan on South Korean chip makers, major Korean semiconductor and display companies say they haven't been affected by the export controls. Four major South Korean chip makers, Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, Samsung Display and LG Display, told the Trade Ministry that their manufacturing lines have not been affected at all since Tokyo's exports controls began in July. They said it's mainly because of efforts by the industry and the government to localize materials and secure alternative importers. Since Tokyo went ahead with its curbs on three key materials used in making chips and displays 5 months ago, Seoul has been trying to slash its dependency on Japanese materials.
Good afternoon. A cold wave advisory issued for Seoul and the surrounding regions. We had a brief cold snap this morning and sharp wind is making it feel colder than the actual temperatures, so do dress warmly on your way out today. Meanwhile, due to the easterly winds, Gangwon province is seeing a mix of rain and snow, and with up to 20 centimeters of heavy snowfall in place for Gangwon province with a heavy snow advisory in there, while other eastern regions, including Jeju, could see 5 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. Meanwhile, Busan, where the ASEAN-KOREA Commemorative Summit takes place, will have much cooler temperatures today, along with 5 millimeters of somewhat light rainfall. Busan will get up to 13 degrees this afternoon, and cool temperatures will stay with us all day today. The cold snap will ease tomorrow afternoon, but it is very likely lows will stay around freezing this week, and daily highs will also not rise that much. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
And that's where we're going to leave the news and weather for now. We'll have more updates for you at 2 p.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.
나는 아세안의 무한한 잠재력과 하나된 힘을 믿습니다. 또한 사람 중심의 평화와 번영의 공동체를 아세안과 함께 만들겠다는 확고한 비전을 가지고 있습니다.
친구들이랑 여행 가면은 항상 제가 요리하는 걸 기대해요.
사인하신 거고 임명장이거든요.
이건 뭐야 이거? Certificate of Appointment. 원일 Lee is an official, devoted, bear vata. 그냥 시키는 대로 해야 되는 거예요 그러면은? I'm on live. Happy birthday. Oh. Alina said yes. 오, 저 이분이랑 같이 가는 거예요? 근데 진짜 잘생겼다. 같이 가면은 그림은 좋겠다. 나 빼고.
How do you take a picture of this?
시작하겠습니다. Oh my god, Austin is going crazy again. Oh my god. Hello everyone. I'm your tour avatar, Wonnie Lee. Want to apologize for my swollen face this morning. Please understand. Right now, it shows 7:20 in the morning here. Then I'm right here at Seoul Station. The reason why I'm here is I'm going to meet our first